Hi guys, and welcome to the Cybersecurity and Infotech book review series with Fixigewa Security. It's another amazing Friday with Fixigewa Security where we bring a series of books and describe articles in the cybersecurity industry. So this episode has been going on for some while, and so far we have covered a lot of books on the series where we talk about various aspects of the profession and the books that are necessary for you to get substantial knowledge when it comes to the profession cybersecurity. So as you all know, these books, after we talk about them, we publish the link to purchase these books via Amazon on our official website on the store section. The reason why we do so is a form of little support, or should we say contribution, that we get from you by purchasing these books using these links on our official website. In doing so, we tend to have a little commission using the Amazon affiliate marketing link, which we have generated to earn some commission. And by so doing, you are also showing some love and as well giving us some little contributions, not for free, because at the end of the day, when we review these books and you feel like they're very interesting for you to purchase them, we tend to see that as a way of paying it forward to us for taking our time to read these books and ensure you don't just spend your hard-earned money to purchase books that are not interesting or do not provide the necessary information when it comes to that various aspects of the profession cybersecurity you are very interested to be vested in. So before we get started, we just want to know if your week is going well so far, and if you have been trying to meet up goals you set for yourself, and also if you have been able to achieve them as well. So it's not easy. The profession cybersecurity is one that demands you to continuously work, study, research, and as well put into practice the knowledge which you have gained during the process or during the course of carrying out these various strategies of learning. So if you've been doing so, we want to congratulate you and let you know that we are rightly behind you emotionally, psychologically, and of course in terms of the spiritual world, where we tend to support one another via good vibes and energy to ensure that you keep on going, no matter how difficult the road seems to be or how tough you tend to find certain informations and processing the knowledge you're trying to obtain from them. Know that you're going to get it right as long as you have this hunger and dedication to continuously learn, and as well putting the practice into good use, because that's the most important thing about this profession. It's not advisable to get good knowledge and use them for malicious intention. Okay, so if you've been trying hard and you've been putting in those energy and hard work and as well the effort, we are rightly behind you and we support you and we encourage you. So with that being said, let's get started with this week's episode on an interesting book which most of you might have read or most of you might have not. But this week we decided to come up with something interesting, a fusion of the red team and blue team aspect of the profession cybersecurity, discussing about an interesting book which every one of you, mostly intermediate down to the expert level, should obtain, or should we say have in your shelf when it comes to the profession cybersecurity. So with that being said, let's get started. So for this week's episode, we are going to talk about Evading EDR. So for those who do not know, EDR is an endpoint detection and response tool. This book tagged the title, The Definitive Guide to Defeating Endpoint Detection Systems, authored by Matt Hand. And I can tell you categorically clear that this book is an amazing book, a very interesting one, power-packed with knowledge and information when it comes to endpoint detection response tool. In general, we cannot say that the information applies to all EDRs, but we can say that by reading this book, you would be fully grounded with information and knowledge on general EDRs. So when we talk about general EDRs, it doesn't matter what type of EDR you're trying to evade or what type of agents that are installed in the various systems where these EDRs are running. You'll be able to have a proper knowledge and understanding on how you can evade or bypass the system with the full knowledge you gain from this book. So before we get started, again, we want to shout out to Matt Han. He's an amazing guy. I don't know him in person, but reading your book has expanded my view about a lot of things about endpoint detection and response tool. There is no time you can try to gain knowledge, or can we say that knowledge is not enough? As long as you continuously read books that are interesting, you always find something new to learn. And Matt Han, I can tell you from the very, very depth of my heart that reading your book has expanded and exposed my mind on more information about EDRs that I do not know. And I can tell you, for any professional who is interested in knowing about EDRs, this book is the right tool and the right resources for you. And by the time you get done with this book, you are not just going to understand what EDR is all about, you're going to understand how it works and how you can evade them, especially if you're coming from the sector of the red teaming aspect of the profession, cybersecurity. You understand how you can bypass these mechanisms that are implemented by EDRs. And not just learning how to bypass them, you understand the concept of the EDR you're trying to test or you're trying to exploit, and understand the key core components that this EDR uses to, detect, or should we say, perform their function detection on a given device or network. So once more, again, shout out to you, Matt Han. Your book is an amazing book, and it's worth the price for a whopping sum of $51 US. It's worth the price, honestly, because it takes a lot of effort for someone to document a book that is suitable for intermediate cybersecurity professionals down to professional experts in such a way that it looks like you're talking to beginners, okay? It's not a beginner's book. I have to be honest with you guys. It's not a beginner's book, but it's a book that talks to professionals in a beginner's concept, or should we say strategy. And this is one book that I can say that Matt put his effort. I don't know if he has other books he has written so far, but for this book so far, I can tell you he put down his effort and, of course, all the magical content in his mind in this book, and makes this book an amazing book. So before we talk more about this book, let's give a definite description about what this book contains. So first of all, if you are interested in learning about evading EDRs, this book is a detailed descriptive illustration on how to evade endpoint and detection response tool. Matt started with defining EDRs, what an EDR is all about, spoke about various concepts of telemetry, sensors, agents, and how they work. And this concept exposes the mode of operation. And the most important part of this description that makes me fall in love with this book is the radar illustration in this book about telemetry and sensors as well. Matt did a well-structured diagram describing the content of this book there. And I can tell you for sure that if you are hungry for knowledge, and you expose your mind to understand every facet of words used in this book, by the time you're done, you should be able to understand the concept of EDR in a different dimension and level. Also, the book talks about the concept of introduction, which cuts across the tools that are required to set up an EDR evasion testing lab. And one thing I love about Matt Han is that he stated that if you already have an EDR enabled or antivirus, you should disable them. He gave you the concept on how you can start from zero to learn this concept of how you can evade the EDR by starting from the zero standpoint of setting up your labs. Then we further looked at this book, reading the whole content on how the EDR architecture exists. Matt, once again, you did an amazing job with your illustrative diagram describing these various concepts and the various ways of data collision of these various agents and how the telemetry is responsible for transferring this data across a master server that monitors these various endpoints that has these agents running on them. And one of the most important part I love about your description is the fact that you narrated the components of the EDR agent. That's one of the beautiful things that I love about this book. And when we talk about these agents, you talked about how they identify various malicious activities, the concept, the strategy, and most importantly, you describe the EDR event. So when we talk about the EDR event, I love the fact that you use an application, chat-app.exe, to describe this concept and the context, how this can be considered a banning action, or if it's a mildly suspicious action or a highly suspicious action. So I would say you did a very amazing job here, putting that into work. And not just putting it into work, you consider the fact that every concept that you are describing in this book is properly explained. Okay, I have read books, few books, not many books that much on EDR, but I can tell you, of all books that I have read on EDRs, your book trumps them all. Okay, this is one thing that I respect about authors like you, because no matter how you try to put out information out there, you always come from a perspective that the person who is reading this article of yours or book or content of yours should have a picture of what you have in mind or what you have experienced over the years of dealing with this technology or infrastructure. And that is one concept you honored in this book, which you have written so far. So once more again, shout out to you, Matt Hand. You did an amazing job, and respect to that. Also, with this book, you're going to learn a lot of things about function hooking, DLLs, illustration, and snippet code description. So if you really want to get a rich information about this book, I would suggest you learn about the Windows 32 APIs and learn about DLLs, okay? Because this book describes a lot of it using this Windows 32 API, because the agents and the EDR concept that was discussed in this book focus mainly on Windows operating system. Also, you have to have a knowledge on C, okay? Why are we saying that? Although Matt says it's not important during the introduction of this book to have skills in C programming, you just have to have the basic knowledge in penetration testing. But after reading this book, we can tell you categorically clear that you need to know about C, because you see how function type definitions have been written using this Windows 32 APIs. And to understand this code, you have to have a knowledge in C programming. So my good suggestion for you guys who are interested in learning about these EDR evasions, to get a whole knowledge of C programming. And that reminds us that, as we promised, before the year runs out, our C programming course will be out. Just give us a while. We are trying to balance up everything, okay? We didn't forget about it. And we're going to categorize this course in different categories. So we're going to have the beginners, we're going to have the intermediate, and we're going to have the expert. So we are trying to break it down to see which of those three we are going to release first, or one of those three we are going to release first, because our coding concept is all about C programming from a cybersecurity perspective. Okay, so not to digress, let's go back again. So you got to learn about C programming for you to understand function hooking, DLLs, illustrations, and snippet code used in this book. Okay, and the various types of EDR designs were also described by Matt Hand in this book. We have the basic, we have the intermediate, and we also have the advanced agent designs. Okay, so these various concepts describe the various systems that these categories of EDRs are using. For example, when we talk about the advanced, we're talking about the hypervisors, we're talking about the adversary deception. And when we talk about the intermediate, we're talking about network filters drivers, file system filter drivers, and ETW consumers. So there's quite a whole lot of information about this book that, even if we try to describe the content of this book, a 1 hour video concept is not going to be enough for this. And also, we don't want to, be some sort of spoiler for this book. Like, we are giving you lots of information for you to now go and research without buying this book. But we can tell you for a fact that if you buy this book with the sole intent of getting a lot of knowledge about EDR evasions, you will be very, very happy that you invested such an amount of money to purchase this book. Because everything we're telling you right here doesn't do justice to the much loads of information that Matt has penned down in this book to share with every cybersecurity professional when it comes to EDR invasions. So there is more to this book which we do not want to talk about because, like our tradition stands, we believe the author wrote this book to make some bread. So sharing out a lot of information that gives key points or values that users can research on various blogs without the intent of them paying it forward to these authors for their hard work is something we don't do at Fixie Gateway Security. Once again, try and buy this book, invest the money. If it takes you months, if it takes you at least weeks to save up to get this book, it's going to be what the money is worth. Now, on the 3 key points that makes this book unique is that it's a well-documented bypass techniques with a fusion of both theoretical, practical code illustration. So when we talk about the theoretical, Matt Hand explained every concept, and it's quite a good balance for a book which is not a video presentation. Okay, so it's like you're getting a book that has information that are very necessary in a visual format. Okay, and when we talk about a visual format, we're talking about a text visual format and not an audio or video visual format. And that 35% is a very standard concept where you have to say it's a balance. Okay, because we have a lot of books that, people talk about a whole lot of stories without even telling you how things work. This is one thing that Matt, tried to scrap out from the concept of writing this book. Once again, Matt Head, shout out to you. You did an amazing job. And the code illustrations here are quite amazing. Okay, the snippet of code talks about every steps of the concept being employed to describe the various topics in every chapter of the book, which the codes were illustrated. So when you talk about the function DL, everything was explained there. The hooking of DL, everything was explained there. How these evasion techniques are being applied, the concept were also explained there using this code. So that is the first concept, why this book should be purchased by every cybersecurity professional. Now, the second key point of the 3 key points is that, is it suitable for beginners? From our knowledge and from understanding the concept of this book, we can say 30%. Okay. Now, when we talk about beginners and assigning 30%, is that if you're trying to learn the theoretical part of this book, okay, then it should be 100%. But if you're trying to get a whole load of knowledge of this entire book and you're just a beginner in cybersecurity, we would advise you not to do so. Follow the author's suggestion to get a whole lot of knowledge on penetration testing. Get well familiar with various concepts of, bypassing security firewall rules and filters and how these are applicable. Then you can now get this book to learn about AVs and EDRs. Mostly the concept explained in this book is EDR, not antivirus bypassing. Okay, so we have to say that this book is only suitable for beginners, 30%. Okay, but for intermediate and advanced blue team and red teamers in cybersecurity, we can recommend this book 100% for you. The informations and the whole knowledge that has been penned down in this book is an ultimate gold mine. Okay, it has everything you need to know, not specifically tied down to say that this concept is applicable to other forms of EDRs, which you might be trying to bypass or you're trying to pen test to see if you can hack them. But the most important part is that the knowledge exposes you the concept of bypassing these techniques. So let's say, for example, an EDR software, we don't want to call any EDR tool for safety reasons, but let's say an EDR tool was bypassed in this book. It doesn't mean the same code is applicable to another EDR software. But the most important part is that the book tells you for the things you have to look out for how you can test techniques to, see what you can bypass when you're trying to exploit specific EDRs. So it's like a foundational knowledge on what you need to know on the concept of how the agents deployed on EDRs works and how you can now possibly look out for loopholes of things you can try to see how you can manipulate them and of course bypass that specific EDR. So once again, for intermediate and advanced blue teamers and red teamers, this book is 100% recommended for you. The last 3 key points that makes this book unique and we love so much about every book we read is that it has a clear image and strategic illustration for each step, explaining how these bypasses were carried out. So when we talk about these illustrative images, we're talking about snippets of codes, diagrams explaining concepts, and more. Okay, what makes a book unique is not just writing jargons. Jargons here doesn't mean bad words, it means a lot of stories, but also trying to have a balance with the concept, image diagrams, illustrating real life events or storyline, while trying to fuse it together with the information of the knowledge you're trying to pass on to the readers of this book. And that is one thing that Matt did in this book called Evading EDR. The book has a clear image of strategic illustrations of both the concepts, the storyline, and of course the code snippet that was illustrated in this book. So this book is amazing. Try and get it. And of course, we recommend this for all blue team experts and penetration testers who want to have an in-depth knowledge on EDR evasion techniques, as well as those who are preparing for certifications such as OSED. So if you're planning to write OSED, which is Offensive Security Exploit Developer, then this book is rightly meant for you. Okay, so go get a copy. It's very interesting that you do. And of course, take your time. Okay, don't rush this book. As a matter of fact, I read books, but I can tell you that this book is one of the books that I took my time to read. Okay, I'm going to share with you how I read this book. First of all, the book is over 300 plus of pages. So what did I do? I try my best to read 20 pages a day. So let's say in the morning when I get to the office or place of work and I don't have much to do, I read 10 pages. Then during lunch hours, sometimes I will just have lunch on my desk and I'll read 5 pages. Then before the end of the day, let's say work not that much on my desk and I don't have much to do, I read another 5 pages. So in a day, I was reading 20 pages and it took me over 2 weeks to finish this book. You can see how technical this book is. So I'm just passing these tips to you. If you're a professional or if you're an expert, follow this book with this concept. Don't just say, I want to finish this book in one day. You cannot finish this book even in a week, especially if you're reading to gain a lot of insight about the evading techniques to bypass EDR agents. Okay. So down to our rating score. For the beginner's rating score, we are going to rate this book a 5 over 5 because the theoretical knowledge being passed on here by Matt is quite detailed and well explained. And for intermediate, expert, professional, red team and blue team scorer, we are also rating this a 5. This is a perfect score which we have given so far on this series because this contains both a theoretical and practical explanation in a very balanced structure and well detailed information. And of course, on the general rating score in cybersecurity, we also rate this a 5 over 5 because everything that was explained regarding EDRs as a new technology was well detailed as well. And no matter what you have learned or you know about EDRs, reading this book is going to expose your mind to something much, much deeper on a different level. And lastly, on the certification preparation rating score, especially for those who are planning to write OSED, this is also rated a 5 over 5 for you because nothing beats a knowledge obtained from a book, like we always say, infused with the knowledge learned from a video training. Together, you have to have a broader knowledge and well-grounded exposure on how to apply these techniques, especially if you're preparing to write a certification such as OSED. Okay, so we'll be posting the link on our YouTube description Also, we'll be posting the affiliate link as well on our official store on fixiegearware.com. Please try and purchase using those affiliate links. We want to start introducing new products as well on our store, not just books as well, because we are intended to, make some much revenues and try to see if we can use the same revenues to put into the community where we want to support newbies who are still struggling to get into the profession cybersecurity. And as you're all aware, on our official YouTube channel, we talk about red teaming and as well tools in cybersecurity, which at the end of the month, we do a lot of giveaways, especially when it comes to Hack the Box voucher and a few Kadayo tools than in the past. We are hoping that as we grow bigger, we will be taking our giveaway to another level. And hopefully that in the next few months or years, as we grow bigger and as we make more revenues from your support and your kind gestures, we will be able to extend those gratitude to supporting others who are still struggling to have a financial stance in the industry. So please subscribe, not just watching as well. When we introduce those products that has affiliate links on our store, please purchase them. Clicking them takes you directly to the Amazon app, so you have nothing to worry about. And of course, we're a reputable organization. Nobody has had any foul stories about us because we're honest and we try our best to be honest. We're not perfect, but because we are so passionate and we're so hungry for knowledge to share, and that's the reason why we try to do the best of our abilities to make ourselves a better cybersecurity organization. So please go to our store and purchase this, read the description and click the Amazon affiliate link as well. And we'll be updating our store soon, maybe before the incoming week runs out. We'll be introducing a few products in them. Show some love. These products are basically going to be related to technology or day-to-day use. Can also be related to books as well. Please, other types of products will not be introduced there because we have a standard we want to maintain, no matter how difficult it is, because we believe that standard is going to be our badge of honor as the years goes by. So with that, we have come to an end of this week episode of the book review series. We want to say a special thank you for you guys who have been subscribing to our official channel on YouTube and all of our various channels where we produce a lot of information. So please do not forget to follow us on X. We want more subscribers on X. We want to grow our followers there. And hopefully, as we get bigger once again, we will be able to expand our generosity to various users. So interact whenever you see our posts, like, repost, or retweet them, or resisting them, or zixting them, since Twitter is now X. So just show any sort of love and support you can that is best to your own abilities. And by so doing, we'll have more motivation to do more in terms of the knowledge and information we want to share. So once again, thank you for joining this week's episode, and trust us that at the end of the day, when you get this book, you will know that there are a lot of things we want to talk about this book written by my hand, but we chose not to speak about it because we want you to have this same knowledge which we have acquired as well by reading this book. So until we meet again, bye for now.